This is exciting. I've never been to a movie at the museum before.
It's so funny that you mentioned that. I just finished a book on how film has become an accepted art form thanks to the work of museums.
Really? That's very interesting. I'd love to hear more about that book. I might check it out myself.
Sure. Let's talk about it after the movie.
I want to hear about this book.
Hush. After the movie. Okay, let's talk about my book. So it's called Museum Movies, The Museum of Modern Art and the Birth of Art Cinema, and it was written by Haiti Wilson. Today, many people are aware of the relation between art and film, and the role of museums as film archives and viewing spaces, especially for avant-garde, or classic movies, is not only common, but expected. Now, the majority of art museums have film series or special viewings of classic and older films, but that wasn't always the case. This book explores how the relationship between art, museums, and film began, and how it's developed over the years.
Tell me more.
The book is centered around the beginning of the film library at the Museum of Modern Art, or MoMA, in New York, and its role in changing the public's view of cinema. When the screenings of films first began at MoMA, the audience was unsure of how they should behave. Was watching movies in a museum different from a regular theater?
I never thought of that.
Often, the viewings were rowdy, with people talking loudly and arguing. According to Wilson, the issues with the viewings at MoMA were part of a larger societal context. There were rapid changes in cinema in general as single silent film strips gave way to multi-reel synchronized sound, and the creation of the movie star began. Over the decades, as films became more advanced, it came to be viewed as a separate, artistic medium worth preserving. In Chapter 2's Manner Cinema as Film as Archival History is explored by Wilson. MoMA's film library is credited with saving many classic films from the dustbin of history. Even after the general acceptance of the artistic and historical significance of the film library at MoMA, problems of funding and vision remained over the following decades. Wilson dedicates several chapters to the work of the library's curators, such as Alfred Barr and Iris Berry. The challenges of pitching the purpose of the library to various investors for funding was difficult, as many who donated to the museum didn't consider film to be art. The librarians had to work hard to legitimize the film library and its purpose. Art films were often presented as historical films for PR purposes, but eventually, the acceptance of films under the larger museum umbrella changed the public's view of the power and intellectual potential of the medium. Wilson writes skillfully of how seeing films inside museums changed the viewing experience and elevated the discourse and criticism to the same level of fine art. I love this book. Wilson did an amazing job at illustrating how MoMA's film library was both an outcome and a contributor to the already evolving role of film in our culture.
That's great. I'm going to get a copy right now.